They weren't the rum-soaked, sword-swinging heroes Hollywood told us they were. The truth? Pirates were far more organized and far less glamorous. Welcome to My History Bites, where we uncover the real stories history tried to bury. If you love history that breaks the myths and exposes the truth behind the legends, make sure to hit subscribe and ring the bell, because today we're diving deep into the world of pirates and separating fact from pure fiction. So grab your compass, because the map to the real pirate life doesn't have an X that marks the spot. Number 1. The myth of buried treasure. X marks the spot. If you imagine pirates hauling gold ashore to bury it under palm trees, you can thank Treasure Island. Robert Louis Stevenson's 1883 novel planted that image so deep in pop culture that even now, we expect every pirate to have a secret chest somewhere in the Caribbean. But here's the reality. Pirates didn't bury treasure, they spent it. Their loot was usually food, rum, spices, cloth, or weapons, things they traded or used immediately. Why hoard gold you could blow on women, wine, and a few weeks of freedom before the Navy caught you? There's only one real record of a pirate burying treasure, Captain William Kidd, and even that was part of a desperate attempt to prove his innocence when accused of piracy. For everyone else, buried treasure was just a bedtime fantasy. But if they didn't bury treasure, what did pirates actually care about? That brings us to their appearance, and another set of myths that never dies. Number 2. Eye patches, peg legs, and talking parrots. Let's face it, when you picture a pirate, you're seeing a caricature. The eye patch, the wooden leg, the parrot on the shoulder. It's colorful, dramatic, and almost completely exaggerated. Now, injuries were real. Life at sea was brutal. Cannon fire, splintered wood, disease, and infections. Some pirates really did lose limbs, and peg legs or crude prosthetics were used. But not every pirate looked like a pirate Halloween costume. As for the eye patch myth, some people claim pirates wore them to help one eye stay adjusted to darkness when going below deck. Cool story, but there's zero historical evidence for it. Eye patches were worn for medical reasons, not night vision tricks. And those parrots, exotic pets, were popular among sailors who visited tropical ports. A few pirates might have had them, but not as shoulder-riding mascots that shouted "pieces await" every 5 minutes. That image came straight out of literature and film, not logbooks or journals. But perhaps the biggest myth of all isn't what pirates wore, it's how they sounded. Number 3. R, the accent that never existed. If you've ever watched a pirate movie, you know the sound. R, matey. The rolled R's, the growling tone, it's iconic. But that accent didn't exist until the 1950s. The voice we all think of as pirate talk came from actor Robert Newton, who played Long John Silver in Disney's Treasure Island in 1950. Newton was from Cornwall, England, and he exaggerated his regional accent to sound rough and adventurous. It was so catchy, it became the pirate voice forever. Real pirates, though, came from everywhere: England, Spain, Africa, the Caribbean, even the Middle East. Their accents were as mixed as their crews. No one shouted "R" on deck, unless maybe they stubbed a toe. And while we're busting movie cliches, that famous punishment, walking the plank, almost never happened. Number 4. Walking the plank, or just over the side. Hollywood loves the scene, a trembling prisoner balancing on a plank while the sea waits below. But the historical record says otherwise. There are almost no verified cases of pirates using planks. The few mentions come from sensationalized 19th century stories meant to thrill readers, not report facts. Real pirates were far more practical and crueler. They marooned people on deserted islands, tied them to ropes and dragged them through the water, or simply threw them overboard. No fancy plank required. So if the movies got that wrong, what did they get right? One thing: pirates really did have flags, and those flags meant business. Number 5. The Jolly Roger, the first psychological weapon. The Jolly Roger, the skull and crossbones, is one of the most powerful symbols ever created, but it wasn't just decoration, it was psychological warfare. Each pirate captain had their own flag designed to terrify. Black flags meant no mercy if you resist. Red flags meant no quarter given, surrender or die. When those flags rose, ships often surrendered without a fight. Why risk death when you knew who was coming? Some historians even compare the pirate flag to early branding. It was an instant signal, fear on sight. But behind that black banner wasn't chaos. In fact, pirate life was surprisingly organized, and that's where the myths truly collapse, because pirates weren't just outlaws, they were early pioneers of democracy. Number 6. Pirate democracy, a floating republic. It's shocking but true. Many pirate ships ran more democratically than the nations hunting them. Crews voted on their captains, split loot evenly, and followed written codes of conduct, sometimes called articles. Captains had authority during battle, but in peace, the crew had the final say. Peter T. Leeson, in The Invisible Hook, describes pirate ships as micro-societies, early experiments in democracy, equality, and even social insurance. If you lost a limb, you got compensation, often in gold or silver coins. Pirates built this system because it worked. Mutiny and betrayal destroyed crews. Fairness and structure kept them alive. But democracy didn't make life easy. The sea was still cruel, and the real daily grind was nothing like the movies. Number 7. The harsh reality: disease, hunger, and death. The Golden Age of Piracy, roughly 1650 to 1730, was anything but golden for those living it. Ships were filthy, food rotted. Scurvy, dysentery, and infections killed more pirates than gunfire. Most pirates didn't live long. The average career lasted 2 years before death or capture. Navies grew ruthless, hanging captured pirates publicly as warnings. Romance? Hardly. So why does the myth persist? The idea of freedom, adventure, and buried gold? Because it tells us something deeper about ourselves. Number 8. Why pirate myths survive and why they matter. Pirates became the rebels of history, symbols of freedom against authority. In truth, they were both villains and visionaries. They plundered, killed, and defied empires, but they also lived by their own rules in a world that gave them none. Our fascination says more about us than them. We crave adventure, independence, and a touch of danger, even if it's painted over centuries of hardship and pain. So the next time you see a pirate on screen shouting "Arr!" and digging for treasure, remember, the truth was far stranger and often far darker. Pirates weren't legends. They were human, flawed, desperate, and daring. Ordinary people chasing survival in extraordinary ways. If you enjoyed this dive into myth versus history, hit that subscribe button and like the video. It helps my History Bites keep bringing the real stories buried beneath the waves. And tell us in the comments, which pirate myth shocked you the most? Because in history, truth is always stranger than fiction.